Hi everyone, welcome along to the webinar. Hope you're all doing well. If you could just let me know if you can hear me and see my screen, that would be great. So if you can just stick something in the chat, you should all be able to type in the chat. That would be perfect. Brilliant, loads of you I can see there. Keith, Gordon, Gillian, Mike, Barney, Sarah, Chandra, Michael, AJ, loud and clear, perfect. Okay, so it looks like we're set up well then. I'm just going to let a few more people join through before we get started. And while we're waiting for those people to join, I'll just do a quick intro to you guys who haven't come across me before. If you haven't been on one of my webinars, then thank you for coming along for the first time today. My name is Dan. I've been working here at Convertri now for um, nearly 4 years. Wow, which is actually a crazy amount of time. So yeah, coming up to um, January will be my 4th year. So I've been around for quite a while now, and I've been running these webinars on and off in my time. But this past year, we've picked them back up again. So I think this is about the 5th month in a row. So if any of you have made it to all of them, then wow, that's great. Thank you so much. I hope you do enjoy them. Um, there is always a replay, so if you do have to drop out at any point, then not to worry. Um, this will go into the knowledge base, probably at the start of next week. So if you do have to rush off anywhere, then no worries about that. You'll be able to catch up. Um, cool. So today's webinar, we're going to be talking about templates in the app. There's something that I think maybe people often overlook when they're using Convertri because they've always been around and we aren't necessarily releasing a ton of new templates every week like some other platforms. We already have quite a big library of templates that you can access in your accounts. So for that reason, they maybe go under the radar a little bit. So I thought this would be a good webinar topic to go through today and kind of not only draw your attention to the templates, but also explain how they can be useful for you and how you can actually use them to benefit you, to help make page building a lot easier and a lot less hassle, and also how they can be applied to a variety of different niches and businesses, no matter what the template actually is based on at the start. So without further ado, then let's jump into it. So the first thing I want to take a look at then is the funnel template. So these are potentially something that many of you might not have tried. Essentially, what we have now is when you create a new funnel in the campaigns area, you're going to get what we call funnel designs. So they are kind of templates, but not in the sense of specific page templates. You'll have to choose that in a moment. But what these funnel designs are, is they're a set of funnels with predetermined page types in them. So we have a variety here. So you can see we've got lead gen, service, consultant, membership, etc. And all of these will have a specific set of page types. So for example, if we take a look at lead gen, if we click the preview button, we can see what those page types will be. So you've got opt-in page, thank you page, and sales page. And this is taken from our funnel designer. So the paid traffic part isn't actually going to be in the funnel when you create it, but that is like an imaginary part of this funnel. So usually you'd run some paid traffic to an opt-in page, then to a thank you page, and then potentially off to a sales page. So if you like this one, you can of course create it. And what will happen is you'll then be asked to choose your funnel template, which is where you choose your page design type. And these 3 pages will be added to the funnel. So I'll show you how that works in a moment. We'll just take a look at a different example. Let's say the webinar. So we'll preview this one. And as you can see, it has a number of different page types. So we have registration page, thank you page, webinar replay page, and a checkout page. So they're the types that you would get if you chose that funnel design. So let's go back and choose the lead gen funnel. So we're going to click select on that. And what will then happen is we can choose our domain as normal, and we then give the funnel a name. So I'm just going to call this template webinar. And then what happens now is you choose your theme for the funnel. So as you'll see, as we go through the webinar today, we have a number of templates in the app, as I mentioned. Some of them are what we refer to as standalone templates. These don't belong to a specific theme. Others are within a theme and they all share the same design and house style, but they're just a number of different page types for each theme. So if we click choose theme, you'll see the theme options. So we have Vibe, Graphite, Glaze, Blue Wave, Skyline, etc. These are the different themes. As you can see, each of them have a very different design, different images, but they all contain the same copy for each page type. So if I was to choose an opt-in funnel design and choose Vibe, it would be exactly the same content on the pages in terms of the copy and the fill in the blank stuff as if you was to choose Graphite. So we're going to go ahead and choose Skyline. I quite like this one. I think it's really clean and also very editable. So you can now see that we have these 3 page types, and these will now be able to be edited and then published to the funnel. So they are essentially what the funnel designs are when you go through and create a new funnel. Does anyone have any questions about the funnel designs at all? And Chandra, no, not leaving in Jan 24. I am going to be, that will be my 4-year anniversary here. So don't worry, you're not getting rid of me that easy. I'll still be around. But yeah, that'll mark 4 years since I started here. Okay, I can't see any questions about the funnel designs, which is no problem at all. Oh, okay, actually 2 have just come through there. So Barney, is Convertri only for sales funnel and landing pages? No, so you do actually have the option to make websites as well. We'll have a look at that in a bit more detail later because one of the templates I want to go through is a website template. But yeah, so you can build websites, for example, our actual Convertri website that you'll see here, you might be familiar with. This is built in Convertri. As you can see, they're powered by Convertri. This is all completely built in Convertri, so you can definitely do other stuff as well. And Jamie's asking, can you move the placements around so designs are not all uniform? Yeah, so if you mean in here, this is kind of just a visual aid anyway, so that this won't determine like which flow the users go through. And this is just like to organize them visually for yourself. If you want to add new pages into this funnel, even though it was a funnel design, you can click new page and then choose one of our templates there. Okay, so I'm going to delete these pages now and imagine that we have just created this funnel from scratch. So if when you create a new funnel, you don't choose a funnel design and you choose to create a funnel from scratch, this is what you'll see when you go into the funnel page. So it'll be a blank funnel, and from here you can then add new pages. So what I want to have a look at now is the different types of templates that we have and also how you can filter through them. So as I mentioned, we do have quite a lot of page templates. If I click new page now, this is how to access them. And if I just quickly scroll through, you'll see we have a lot of templates in the template library, which is great because it means there's a load of choice for you guys. And we do have templates for a number of different niches and different scenarios, but obviously, as you can see, I'm still not at the bottom. It does make finding templates a bit more difficult, and we're all aware of that. So we have added some filtering options recently. And what these are is a drop down to section out basically the themes and the standalones alone. And you can also filter out by theme. So if I was to do only themes, what would happen is the funnel themes would be shown only here. So we'd have like the 404 themes, the adventure funnel. We've then got the agency funnel. We've got the blue wave funnel. So these are the ones you saw in the funnel designs. And as you can see, these are now displayed, and we don't have any of those, what we refer to as standalone templates. So that is at the bottom. So if you do want to choose one from a theme, let's say you've made a funnel design and it's like using this adventure theme, and then you want to add another page from that adventure theme, you can just filter it by either only themes or even adventure. And then what would happen is you'd only see templates for that theme, and you'd be able to choose which ones you want from there. We also then have the standalone option. So only standalone will then filter out any of the funnel themes. So we will now be displaying only the standalone templates. So it's just loading a while. I think it's the Zoom meeting here, taking a while to filter those through. There we go. So we've got now individual page templates. And you can see here, none of these are attached to a theme. These are all ones we built as solo templates. Some of them do have the same style, but they're not actually like in the bigger theme set. They don't have all the different page types that we mentioned there at the start. And I'll show you in a moment for those themes. So yeah, these are, as we call them, standalone or one-off templates. So I'll go back to all templates, and then we'll have a look at the page type toggle as well, or drop down, I should say. So we have all page types here, or you can filter through one of 20 page types, but these are only for themes. So if I was to go opt-in page single, it would only show me templates within funnel themes, because these are specific to the funnel themes. So we do have a lot more opt-in page templates than just this. If you want to find those, you'll need to be on the all page types. And then what you can also make use of is our search bar over here. So if you was to type in opt-in in a number of ways, you'll get the opt-in page types, or should I say standalone templates. So as you can see, we have a number of opt-ins here that aren't attached to a theme. And you can see we have many different niches available. We've got vet surgery, we've got survival, we've got some real estate templates, performance and gym, pets, nutrition, music. All of these different types of templates are available for you, and they can also be tweaked to match a number of different niches, which I'll show you in the webinar today. So that's kind of the page templates as an overview. We also have this really great toggle that we recently added for favorites. So we can show favorites only. So what I can essentially do is mark some of my templates as favorites. So let's take this lost one. Click that button, add to favorites, or add a couple now. And then what that means is these are now marked as favorites. If I then go to the toggle and turn it on, these will now be displayed, and it will filter out only the ones that I've added as a favorite. So I can obviously toggle that off. I can turn the toggle off, or I can just remove them as favorites. And this will be across your whole account. So if you do add a template to a favorite within one funnel, it will also be added across your account. So whenever you use this toggle, it will display your favorites. So that's really, I think, a nice feature. So enough about the templates, where to find them and how you access them. Let's have a look now at editing the templates. So what I want to do at first is show you how you can use our templates to easily create a fully working page. So we're going to take one of the opt-in pages from one of the themes. I'm just going to find the one I like, which I believe is in Skyline. So we'll go with this Skyline one, and we'll just call it opt-in template. So we're going to select that page and create it. And we're then going to go into the editor, and you'll see now from this section how to edit a template in Convertri. So once you're in the editor, one of the things that I really like to stress to people when they're building pages, but also editing templates as well, is to turn on element outlines in the elements option of editor settings. What that will do is that will just put an outline around each element, and it really just allows you to see where each element is and where you need to be clicking to edit them. Another thing I think is really important for template editing is to use the smart text toggle. So if you look up here on the top toolbar, we have this grayed out smart text button. If you click that, it will be blue. And what this means is if I edit the text, it will actually push down the rest of the page, not that image, but if we have a look at this one here, you'll see that is pushing down now the rest of the page when I edit that. And that really is key because it means you don't have to move things around manually. So it really does minimize the work you're having to do when you're editing the templates, which of course is what really making the most of the templates is all about. I spoke about this a little bit in the design webinar. And essentially what I wanted to make clear in that webinar is that it's okay to use shortcuts and the resources available to you if you're looking to cut down the time you're spending on designing pages and you just want to get your pages up quickly, which in my opinion is what you should be doing. Of course, there might be people that want to spend a bit more time on page editing and get better in that area, which is perfectly fine. You know, more power to you. We obviously promote that if it's something you're interested in, but if you are just looking to make use of the templates, the resources, by all means use them and make sure you're using everything you can to speed up that process. So let's have a look at editing the template then and how we would go about doing this. So we have here a headline, which we have set for all of the Optim single page types. This will be the copy on all of them. And you can see here we have this bracketed text, which is what you would replace with your text for whatever it is you're looking to promote or sell or advertise to people. So download the free guide, number ways to get results without setback. So let's just say it's about a weight loss product or a health product. I like to use this example because it's usually quite easy to demonstrate. So we have this page here, and looking at it, we might not think it really fits the health niche at the moment. And I think that would be fair. We have, you know, this image, which isn't really related. I think the colors are fine, but we could probably do a bit to change that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how we can go about editing that. So first things first, take a look at the font and the sizing and see if you like that for what you're about to create. If you don't, you can actually change this at a global level for the page. And to do that, you can go into page and then default text styles. And from here, you have the control to set your paragraph text type and your heading text type, as well as the hyperlink. So for paragraph at the moment, we have roboto, and you might want to change that to something that maybe matches your brand a little bit more. For the sake of the webinar, I'm going to change it so we can see the difference. So if we have a look at what it is before, you can see very basic, and we can change it to something a little bit different in here, and it will automatically update for all of the text elements that use the paragraph style. So let's just go with inter. And we'll also change the color to, we won't change the color yet, actually, we'll do that in a moment because otherwise we won't be able to see it. So we'll keep the color like that, and we're also going to change the heading as well, and we'll change it to inter as well, just because I like to keep things consistent. And you can see immediately that is what's happening in the background. So we'll click done, and you can see now we have the new text styles. And you may have to do a bit of moving around here if the text has made the text like not fit in the text box. You can move the text box over like so to fit it all onto one line. So not really anything major there. So we've got our copy now, and we can fill this out by editing the text. So it's very easy if you have a product you want to promote to just fill in the blanks of these templates. So download the free guide to discover, let's say, 7 ways to get fit without training every single day. So as I mentioned, we'll say this one is for kind of fitness. And we'll move that over to a new line like so. I just realized that I accidentally copied that out. Let me just undo this because I'm now confused at what just happened with the text there. Okay, so we now have the text, which for some reason is duplicating. So it looks like we've just found a bug there. which is fine. We can sort that out after the webinar. So what we want here is download the free guide to discover 7 ways to get fit without training every single day. There we go. Okay. So sorry about that little interruption there. I was just a little bit confused at what happened with the text, but that's fine. We've got that out now. That's no problem. And I'm just going to space that over like so. I think that looks a bit better if we have it going on to. So we now want to edit the image here so it's a bit more relevant to our topic. So you might think that this would be a difficult process with a template, but it's not. It's actually very easy. All you need to do is click on the image you want to edit, click change image, and then you can use either an image in your gallery or you can search Pixabay, which is completely included in your Convertri subscription. And this will actually pull results from Pixabay, which, if you don't know, is a royalty-free image sharing site. So because it's royalty-free, the integration that we have with them, as I say, comes at no extra cost. And you also don't need to worry about any kind of copyright issues because Pixabay will only return results for images which are royalty-free. So we'll search fitness. Obviously, you can do this for any kind of niche, any business idea that you want, and we'll try and find a cool image for fitness. I quite like this one with the powerlifting. So we'll add that to the page. As you can see, all we've done there is clicked on the image we like and clicked select, and that has now replaced it in there. You might want to do a little bit of cropping. If you want to do that, we have a cropping tool. So if we select on the image, we go to image properties and then crop image, we can actually make this a little bit more friendly for our page. So we'll go to the full size and then up with this drag handle. Like so. And I couldn't select the middle drag handle down there because the zoom menu was in the way. So I had to go around it a little bit. But anyway, you can crop an image. So another way you can edit a template to your liking is using the cropping tool. If you do want to use the image, but maybe you don't like part of it, you can always do that. So we'll confirm that crop and that will make it fit in the space we have. So again, you can see here we have the text that we've got to edit. So if you want to edit this template, it's very easy. All you need to do is fill in the blanks. So we've all had to deal with, let's say, being unfit in the past, but fixing it means spending all our time in the gym. So we can add another one here. I'm going to just leave it as this. And this is the great thing about the templates. You can choose to follow them and their structure as loosely or as strictly as you want. So if you don't want to have 2 reasons there, you can just remove one and that's completely fine. But they are very flexible in that sense. This guide shows you how to get fit easily, quickly, and with no training. You'll discover, and then we have our bullet points, 7 ways to get fit, how to avoid, accidentally leave the whole element there, how to avoid plateaus, and we've got hint, it involves nutrition. So you can see here, these templates that we have, they are great for any niche because as I'm showing you, you can match them to any niche without really needing to have a load of information. All I need is a few ideas really. So like I've got my fitness idea here and I know that, being unfit is a problem and fixing it, maybe spending all the time in the gym, but the template is set up in a way that you don't have to write any of this copy yourself. So that's what I was talking about by using the resources available to you, because the Convertri templates are already built, ready to go in a sense. You may need to change an image here or there. You might want to change the color scheme, but the copy and the layout is all really done for you. And then we have our form here at the end, which doesn't really need editing at all. The image in the background here, I think, could probably do with tweaking because it's not really matched up to our fitness brand. So we're going to go ahead and change that as well. And we're going to try and find one that will fit nicely in the background. So we may have to try a couple here, but we'll go with this one of the lady boxing. And as you can see, that one actually fits quite nicely. You can't quite see like the details, but you can see there's the boxing glove there. Someone is working out and we've got a punch bag. So that one looks quite nice as well. And it fits with the page. So you can see nice and easy to do that. And then what we'll do is we'll preview the page and that will show us how our template is looking. So as you can see, we haven't really been pulling up trees here. We've done something very simple, but we have a working page now, which if we were to attach a form to it, would fit for a opt-in page for like a fitness brand, or if someone was promoting like a fitness ebook, for example. This page is definitely doing a job there, and that's taken us not long at all to build that out. So there is how you can edit the template types in Convertri very easily to fit any niche really. And they are all built out with template editing in mind, and that's why it's so easy. We're going to have a look at another example of like a website page and how you can basically change the niche on a website that we have, website template that we have, and just show you how they are multi-purpose templates. But does anyone have any questions about anything that we've looked at there at all? Cool. It looks like that was well received, and I think if there are any questions, please feel free to let me know during the show. We're going to look at the last point now, which is essentially the what I want to try and show you is, as much as we have changed like the niche in this one, these templates really are kind of built for that kind of thing. Some of the website templates that we did in the past, you might look at them and think that actually this isn't going to be for me because it's not in my specific niche, but you can really make them fit your niche as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the filter to go to standalone templates only. And I'm going to scroll down to a couple of the website templates that we have. So as I mentioned, we have like standalone ones here that maybe aren't in niches, but some of them definitely are. Some of them are just like nicely designed templates. But if we take a look at one of my favorite templates actually, which is home repair, you'll see that this one you may think is, for example, all about like DIY, and as it says, home repair. So you're looking at things like construction, plumbing, electrician, those kind of brands. However, you can still turn this into a template for a different type of service provider, maybe like a gardener. So that's what we're going to try and do now for the remaining time that we have. So if I go to create this page and then click just home repair to gardening, we will have a look at how you would go about doing that. So we've got our page in here now, and we're going to go back into the editor as we did with the first one. And this one is going to be a little bit more work because to start with, the template itself isn't really built in a way that it's like fill in the gaps, copy, for example, but you still have the same kind of things in here. And what I'm going to show you is you don't need all of the sections if you don't want. Can remove stuff with our templates. So you can see we have the base page here. Again, I'm going to turn on my editor outlines and I'm going to turn on smart text. And then what we're going to look at is start to try and identify the areas of the page that we might want to change. So this is a services page, but as I said, it's built for home repair. So you can see we've got bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, general repairs, etc. We could change this into another service provider. For example, the one I mentioned there was gardening. So there are a couple of things we're going to want to do. Changing out the images, the text, and maybe removing some things is going to be a few of the first things. We might need to also change the style, like the color scheme. So yellow, black, very construction. We might want to go for something a little bit more environmental that will match the brand. So to start that, we're going to look at our default styles. I think the text that we have for the paragraph is fine. And the heading one, maybe we could change that a little bit as well. And you can see here, some of these templates haven't been built really with the default style. So it's definitely something to watch out for. What you should really do in this case is change the ones you want to be headings to like the heading 1 style, the same as with bedroom. You might want that, or maybe let's go heading 2 actually, because these ones are more smaller scale. So we're going to change 2 of these to heading 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the rest of these examples. So we're a small gardening brand and we don't offer that many services. So we want to use this website template, but we don't need all of these available to us. So we're just going to keep those top 2. And you can see by deleting these, I'm freeing up space, and all I'm doing is selecting the panel and clicking delete. That creates this big white space. To remove that, I just need to select the element at the bottom of the white space and then click the remove white space above button. And that will then snap it up to the panel above. So we actually need to move the panel up first as well, which is why that wasn't working. So you can see how useful the element guidelines are, but because if I didn't have that on, I wouldn't necessarily know the panel was there. And that way I wouldn't be able to see that why I wasn't able to move the white space away from this part. So I'll click the image now, click remove white space, and that will then snap it up to the panel that I just resized up there above. So I'm going to take out some of these parts of the text as well. And essentially make sure that it's in a good position where I can start editing. So we've got our heading 1. We've got this here is an image. So we would maybe want to swap that out for our logo. And we've then got our menu here. So you could, of course, edit this depending on what other things you might have on your website. So I'm going to start by changing the colors. So we're going to go with like a green scheme, as it's going to be for gardening. So we've got our panel here. I'm going to go to background and then we're going to choose a different color. We'll go with kind of this. I think like a dark green is quite nice for kind of gardening. Maybe we want to go with a little bit lighter. We'll go with the dark green, I think. We're then going to go ahead and change this one as well to something that matches with that a little bit better. That might be just like a white, that might be fine. And then we'll go ahead and change our menu as well to fit that. Now, as you can see, we have a bit of a problem because now the menu isn't visible, but what we can do is change the menu properties. So we can go into text color and we can actually select the green that we chose for our background there. And we can also change our text if we want to. We'll keep it as that for now. We might want to make it a bit more bold, or semi-bold. We then want to look at changing the text styles. So we're going to go into our default text styles, and I would always recommend doing this, as I mentioned in the last page. But even if you go to a template and maybe they're not set up using the text styles, some of our older ones aren't, then this is where you should start. So because it's gardening, we're going to try and go with a little bit more of a neater style. So we'll go with this handly. I quite like that. We'll change the text color. to white, and that's for heading 1. So that should now apply. You can see it hasn't applied all the way, so we're going to have to do a bit of editing, which is fine. We'll go to the text editor, and we might want to make the size a little bit bigger. We'll check what it was in default styles, see if it matches. Yeah, 54. We're going to try and come down to 32 and see. All right, so it's not affected it. The reason for that is because if you edit a text element, that will then not respect the default text style in a way. So if you start by editing that, it's not going to respect it, but that's fine. We can go with that one. And instead of having the image in here, what we're going to do is just copy our services text box, place it up here. This will be our logo in a sense, and we're going to change the color of that to this one, and then just the guard. Like so. Okay, so we're starting to build out a base for our page here. We just want to make sure that we have our color scheme on point. So we're going to change that, and we're going to remove the image, and instead we're going to use an icon. And from here, we can actually search things. So we can search phone, and I can then just use this one. So again, this template was probably built before we had our icon set. So it's worth looking out for that kind of thing. And you can identify the element type in element properties. And what I can do here is manage the icon and change the color as well. So you can see it's coming together a little bit better now. And what we need to do now is change the copy. So from, let's say, whether it's weeds and trees to patios and ponds. So we're just changing the text there, and we are having to do a bit more work that we will have to edit because it's not built out in that kind of fill in the blanks way. But the reason I'm showing this because I want to make it clear that you can still change the templates to make them look different to what they are, but make them match your brand without really having to build it out from scratch. So there's not a problem in your garden that we can't fix. Check our extensive list of services. Got a job that's not on the list, give us a call, we can probably still help. So that one is fine, we don't need to edit that. And then we just need to get to changing our images. And we've got here bedroom, so we want to change this one. We're going to have a look again at our default text styles. So we'll go back to page, default text styles and heading, and then we'll probably use the same font which we used before, which was Handley. And we'll just, and you can see it's changing there, which is great. And we'll just maybe make the text size a bit smaller, 24, it's fine. And actually it's going to be stuck on 26 anyway, so we'll change it here, man. And you can see with the smart text, when I do that, the text below it is shifting up. So that's saving me a job, which is always nice. So we're going to change the images now, similar to how we did on the first page. And we'll use Pixabay again, which is always your friend. And we'll just use ponds. Let's try a bit more specific, maybe garden pond. That might give us a bit more of a realistic pond. Can't really see one in here at the moment. So we'll go with just this kind of generic pond image. And the great thing about the image selection is when you change an image like that, it will automatically fit it to the size that it already was. So it's not going to just add it on this page massive, like so. It's not going to add it in here and then you have to edit it. Instead, it will actually just fit it in the space that you already had. So we'll do the same with this one. And this is for bathroom at the moment, but we can change that image and we'll try and find a nice image of, say, some garden trees that we want to have for this one, or we may want something that's a bit easier to display, garden weeds. Okay, so we can go with this one. That looks quite nice. So the aspect ratio on this one is slightly different. So it has changed the size of it slightly, but again, we can make use of the cropping tool similar to in the gym one. And we can go full size to start with. And then maybe you want to take a bit off the top this time. And then we can just move that up like so. And bring it down like that. So you can see it's kind of cropped that out a little bit. So I'm actually going to restore that. And what's going to happen is it's going to go to the original size. So we'll get rid of that. Instead, we don't need to worry. We can clone this one, move it over to this panel and change the image of this one again. So because that one wasn't working very well, we'll try a different one. Instead, we'll just search for gardening in general. Might come up with a better one. Like so. Okay, cool. So we have this one and the image size isn't perfect. So we'll try the cropping again. And once we've cropped that one, we can move it. Okay, cool. So that one looks pretty good. And then what we need to do is make sure the text matches up. So we've got this one will be ponds and this one will just be weed removal. See, if things do get moved around, you can easily sort those issues out. And that's why I always think it's important to have the element outlines turned on, because I think without those, you're not always going to be sure where you need to click. So you can see we've got the circle effect here. Again, these are going to be images, so we want to remove those. If we do want to keep that effect, what we can do again is add icon, or we may actually be able to edit the color of these if they were created with a panel, which they were, so that's fine. We can actually use our green color here. We could do, if you wanted to have a nice effect, is just change the letter that's within the green background to that white color that we were using earlier. You don't have to have it like that. I don't actually think it looks that good, so we're going to just leave that alone. But you can see how you would get that effect. So text will need changing again. So building from scratch on maintenance. Or additional planting. Weed removal. Again, we can add different text for this one. So we'll go general clear ups, large scale jobs, or waste removal. So you can see, I'm not a gardener by no means, and I'm coming up with this stuff on the fly, but essentially you can make these templates work for different brands. So you can see we've gone from, we'll actually do a comparison at the end. We're not finished yet. We do want to finish this page out before we look at it, the comparison, because I think it's important to do that. But you can see the difference already from the top here to the bottom. And that's why the templates really are so powerful. So we'll move on to the next section. We've got these points here. I think they're fairly standard. We might want to change the background color, image, to something a bit more on brand. So we'll go with gardening. Maybe we want something like this. We'll try it. Again, a lot of this is going to be like trial and error, which is fine. That's part of the job. I actually do quite like that. We will have to tidy a few things up here, which is fine. That's part of it as well. First thing I want to change is the yellow backgrounds here. So you can see we've got this effect on the bottom, which I believe will be part of the border. Okay, so it's not actually the border. these might be images. Okay, so we've got an effect here that I'm not actually sure how it's been achieved. Ah, okay, I think we've got a shadow. Right, so we've got a shadow, there we go. So we've got the shadow. So again, this is kind of worth pointing out. It's worth having a look in the properties of these templates, elements on these templates. That's always why it's worth having the element outlines on there, because I knew that it wasn't a separate element because we have the pink. So I knew it had to be like a border or then would go to a shadow. So we'll change the shadow color. We're actually going to go with like a kind of light green this time. I think that looks quite nice as like a contrasting color because the background is quite dark, and we can select that again. Now the figures here are not something that really need changing. If obviously you want to do that, that's fine. And then the text here will need to be changed. Again, we'll change the default style so that it matches the text. And you can see now that we set that up, we don't have to manually edit it. We can just use that style. And then we'll maybe want to change the color to so it's more legible on. Then we've got this section here. I'm actually going to remove these because I think it's kind of doing the same thing that we have up here. So we'll remove these out. Again, like I said, you don't have to keep everything in a template if you don't like it. We already removed some stuff earlier. We can remove that here. And what I would say is probably a good thing to do for this page is to add a testimonial here at the bottom. So something that is giving the reader reassurance that you are, experienced, have 100% quality, have happy clients. We have our button here, which is fine. If you want to change this, that's no problem. I probably will change it. I'll go with the green, not the shadow color though. I want it to be the button appearance. So we'll go with that green color, or what we'll actually go with is the dark green, and then on mouse over, we'll go with the lighter green. So I think that's quite nice. And we'll change, we'll keep that as it is. So that's going to be your call to action button, which is fine. And as I said, you could add a testimonial here if needs be, which we'll actually go through and do that now just so we can see how you'd go about that. So I'm going to add a panel. And what I would probably do in this case, so as not to detract away from the image too much, is go with a transparent background on this, like so. And then from there, I'm going to add my testimonial. So we'll add the text, we'll clone this one. I'm going to go with a nice heading. So check out what our clients thought. And then in here, we would have a text box. And we could actually add like a background to the text box if you wanted to do that. And you would add in here the person's name. So we'll go John Doe. He's saying that I used the gardening code to completely declutter my entire garden. Best decision I ever made. And then if you have an actual client that you're doing this for, that's perfect. If you don't, and this is like, sorry, I should say if you have an image of the client, that's perfect. Obviously, you'll need a client for a testimonial. If you don't, what you can do if they're happy for that is you can use like a stock image. So you could just have like male client, and you could just add one of these or male avatar, and you can add one of these onto the page. It is always best to kind of get an actual person, but you can see these kind of stock images are available if you do need to do that as well. So we'll try and find one that I think will be more suitable. Let's go with this one. But yeah, I think getting an image is always the best way to go, but it's not too much of a problem if you do have to use this kind of style one. And what you can always do is create a kind of circular effect with it using the borders. So if we turn border radius on for each corner and then go up, we'll get this kind of rounded effect, which is always quite nice. And we can always crop any part of the image out we don't well. So for example, we might not want this bottom bit. I don't think that's going to play nice. Oh, with the borders it actually has, which is great. And there you go. We've got our testimonial here at the bottom, which adds a bit into that bottom space. And lastly, all we need to do is replace these bits at the bottom, which are still on the old house style. So I just go into the text here, highlight that, change it to the dark green. And the same with the telephone. I can actually just clone this from the top, move it down here, like so. And we can then change the background of this to match, again, the white. And then we'll just need to change all of the text here to match that as well. So you can see why the default styles are something that's worth bearing in mind, because if you can get it to work with default text styles, you're going to have a lot easier time editing. Some of these were built without that. So that's why we're getting this kind of effect where we're having to change it on each. If we do actually change it in here, it might update, but we're going to just do it manually for now. But even with the manual edits that you can see I'm making here, it's not actually that big of a job. You know, you're editing a few bits of text color. You're not having to completely redesign the whole page, which is really useful. So we'll change all of those and we'll leave the all rights reserved as it is. And we could even delete this because it's not actually built out with a menu. So we could delete that and just completely clone the menu from the top down the bottom. So we get that that kind of consistency with the footer there as well. Personally, don't think we need the menu there at the bottom, so I'm going to remove it altogether. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this using the alignment tool and do the same with the telephone number and then just put that icon next to it. So you can see you can edit the page how you like as well. If you don't like some of the style of the layout, you can change that, but obviously the layout is there to help you. And what we've now done is using that template, which was originally for home repair, we now have a completely ready to go gardening service page that we could use for a gardening website. So if we preview that, we'll see what that looks like. Up there, that's great. You can see we have a little bit of gray here, so we'll fix that up. And I just want to do a comparison so we can see it against the original. Change that. So we'll save it. I'm going to open a new tab and just go into the template webinar and then get that actual home repair page out so we can compare the two. And we have the services page, which was here. So home repair original. And we'll then go into this one as well. We'll preview the two of them and we'll take a look at them together. So you can see the preview on the original we'll start with. This is very much construction based. We're talking about colors here. We're talking about the language, the images, of course, the services provided as well. We've got more on this page that we've removed. We've got a kind of wall background, which is nice for a home repair, but not really going to fit gardening. And again, the colors don't really match that as well. So this one, great for a gardening, great for a home repair. Or any kind of like construction, like maybe in-house hands-on, like electricians, maybe it would fit for those kind of colors as well. You still have to change a few images, but if you're talking then about something different, like a gardening niche, which is very different in terms of maybe the clients you're looking for, the kind of images you associate with it, the colors, that kind of thing, you would think that maybe you'd need a completely new website template for that and you wouldn't be able to use the home repair one. But if you do like the home repair one, you can actually edit it like we have done to fit a gardening company. And as you can see here, I would say you maybe wouldn't even notice this is following the same scheme if you weren't aware of that already. So don't be afraid to use the same template if you're doing business websites for different businesses. If you have different businesses yourself, you can use the same template. And if you're changing the images and the fonts and the content, if the structure is the same, it's not going to make a difference. And I would really recommend making the most of these pre-built structures that we have. So that is a good example, I think, of how you can use the templates to your advantage, both the ones that are set up, so all you have to do is fill in the gaps and maybe change an image, and also one of the templates that is maybe built out for a specific purpose, like a home repair website in this case, that you can actually change up to your own business needs. So I hope that was useful for everyone. That's going to bring us to the end of the webinar. There is one more thing I want to show you, but that's the main demo. So while I go back to the funnel to show you this last bit, please do get your questions in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them at the end. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope that was useful. Let me know if you think that was useful and you're going to use some of those tips moving forward. Cool. And the last thing I want to show you, I'm glad to see loads of you looking forward to using the templates and found that useful. I'm just going to show you now how you can set a 404 template for your page. So we have a few 404 templates. I'm going to select this one and call it 404. What I then need to do is publish this page. Of course, again, you can edit this exactly the same way we just showed, so I won't go through that again, but you can give these a different feel. But what I'm going to do is publish it to 404 and then hit publish. And you can see what will happen is it will be used as a 404 page for the current domain. So if I hit publish on that, and we then go to my domain, so danielrahili.convertri.com, and then we / something that doesn't exist, what will happen now is it'll go to that 404 template automatically. I don't need to do anything else. I can check it in the account domains area if I want to. So danielrahili.convertri.com. If I go more and then 404 page, you can see I can actually choose my funnel, which we had as template webinar. I can set it up this way already, but that is the current 404 page. So I can just use that as the current. I could set it to one of these, but obviously we want it to be that 404 page to make sure it doesn't exist. So there you are, guys. I hope that was useful. I can't see any questions on that, which is not a problem. I'll take that as a good thing. One question from Jim here, actually, how a photo on your computer might be uploaded rather than using stock images. Yeah, so good question, actually, Jim. It's really similar process. All you need to do is click change image and then essentially use this upload button here rather than going to search Pixabay. And what that will allow you to do, you won't, I don't think, see my file that just popped up, but if you click upload, your like Windows Explorer or your Mac files tab will pop up and you can actually use the images you have saved on your device as well. Keith's asking about animation. Unfortunately, we don't have any animation functionality on images or panels. If you do want to have a look at some actions and events you can set up, be sure to check out the actions and events webinar that I ran about portfolios and how you can have images hiding on mouse over and appearing when certain things happen on the page. In terms of actual animation, like making an image or a button pulse, like change size like this, we don't have that functionality in the app at the moment. Yeah, same thing, Harry, with an animated GIF. You can't actually upload a GIF to Convertri and have it work as a GIF. What you'd have to do is have it as like a video or something like that, and then turn off the playback controls. If you set it as a background video, I think you can achieve that result. I do cover that in my videos webinar as well, so be sure to check that out in the knowledge base, and you'll be able to have a look at that in detail. But for GIFs at the moment, we don't actually support those. Okay, so I can't see any more questions, and we're at the hour now, so I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you all enjoyed that. The replay, as I mentioned, will be available in the knowledge base probably by the beginning of next week, so be sure to check that out. If you had to, if you missed any of that, if you dropped in late, then no worries about that at all. All right, thanks everyone for coming as always, and I hope to see you all again in one of my other webinars soon. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.